Ketu's journey. A tale of loss, survival and unexpected light. In the heart of Brazil, amidst the fast-paced samba rhythms and bright city lights, a small figure wandered the streets, barefoot, afraid, and completely alone. Her name was Ketu. They say life begins with hope, but for 10-year-old Ketu, it began with loss. Born in Nigeria, Ketu was a bright child with the softest eyes and a curious heart. Her parents, Maiba and Amoka, had big dreams. They longed to give Ketu a life beyond hardship. So, when Maiba got a job offer in Brazil, they sold everything, packed their bags, and flew across the ocean to start anew in Sao Paulo. She was just 10 years old, a Nigerian girl whose world had crumbled in a blink. Her parents, filled with hope, had left Nigeria for Brazil with dreams of a better life. They laughed together on the plane, holding her hands, whispering promises of school, adventures, and family picnics on Sunday afternoons. They didn't have much, but they had each other. The city was loud, bright, and filled with words Ketu couldn't understand. Still, she clung to her parents' hands and trusted them. Her mother whispered, "No matter what, never go to an orphanage." Never. At the time, Ketu didn't know why those words. Just 4 days after arriving in Sao Paulo, tragedy struck. A car crash. She survived. They didn't. And suddenly, the world became a loud, strange place. The air smelled different. The people spoke in fast Portuguese, words that felt like flying knives she couldn't catch. No family. No friends. Just memories. And one haunting instruction she clung to like a lifeline. "Never go to an orphanage, Ketu," her father once said, looking into her eyes the night before they left Nigeria. "No matter what happens, be strong. Trust no one too easily." It was during a dinner of jollof rice in their one-bedroom apartment, her mother humming a tune from home. That was the last peaceful memory she had. Her father kissed her forehead and added, "Your name, Ketuojo, means who is more than God in our tongue, and you, my dear, carry the strength of two hearts." That memory played over and over as she hid in alleyways, running from shadows. Ketu refused to go into the system. She ran. She lived off leftover bread tossed by vendors in the early morning markets. She drank from park fountains. At night, she huddled beside the walls of old buildings, her tiny frame wrapped in a torn Ankara shawl her mother gave her. Other times she slept in empty alleyways, behind fruit stalls, sometimes under church steps. The sounds of the city were terrifying, the shouting, sirens, loud motorbikes, and the ever-present music playing in Portuguese that she couldn't understand. A little girl, lost in the heartbeat of a city that didn't know her name. She begged for food with gestures and tears. People passed. Some dropped coins. Others looked away. Days turned into weeks. Ketu stopped counting. She began to learn a few words. Ogwa for water. Comida for food. Still, her voice grew quieter, her eyes dimmer. She was just a shadow moving through the streets. Then one night, as the streets were closing and market women packed their unsold fruits into crates, a group of teenage boys cornered her. She was just trying to rest beside an empty kiosk when they approached. "Garitinha Padida," one said. "Você é Sada," another shouted when she didn't reply. She didn't understand them, but she could feel their bad energy. She backed up into the wall. That's when he appeared. Tall, rough-looking, with a deep scar down his cheek and tattoos peeking from under his shirt sleeves. His name was Mateus. Ketu froze. The man knelt and offered her a bottle of water. He had a scar running down the side of his face and eyes like thunderclouds. Everyone in the area seemed afraid of him. They called him Lobo the Wolf. Asides water, he offered her silence. He scared the boys off with just one glare. Then he turned to her and spoke gently. "Você está sozinha." And again, realizing she didn't understand, he switched and said in broken English, "You have no one." She nodded slowly, her lips trembling. That was the beginning of an unusual bond. He didn't speak about his past. Instead, he taught her how to survive. Matthias wasn't perfect. In fact, many believed he was dangerous. A man with secrets, who once walked in darkness. But there was something in Ketu that softened him, maybe it was her eyes, or how she reminded him of someone he had lost. Years passed. He showed her the markets that threw away good bread. He taught her how to say "Emi Ajude, help me" in a way that made people listen. He taught her Portuguese, how to defend herself, how to read, and most importantly how to survive with dignity. He wasn't her father. He wasn't even trying to be. But he gave her something she hadn't felt in a long time: safety. Ketu grew into a young girl with fire in her spirit and scars on her soul. She still had nightmares. She still missed her mother's lullabies. But she had strength now, the quiet, unshakable kind. Matthias kept his distance, watching over her like a shadow. Some days he vanished. Others, he brought her mangoes, or a tattered notebook filled with Portuguese phrases. Once, she asked, "Why did you help me?" He smiled faintly and said, "Because no one helped me." Ketu never forgot that. She began helping other lost children. Teaching them the words she learned. Giving them food when she had more than enough. She became a light in the alleys where she once hid. And slowly, the girl who was once alone became a legend whispered in Sao Paulo's corners. A menina que sobreviveu, the girl who survived. One day, as the sun dipped behind the tall buildings, Ketu stood at the spot where she first met Matthias. He was older now, slower, but his eyes still carried storms. She hugged him. "Obrigada, Matthias," she said softly. For the first time in years, he whispered back, "You're welcome," made her feel her. Ketu never returned to Nigeria. But she carried her parents in her heart, and their warning in her soul. She never stepped into an orphanage. Because what she found was family, in the most unexpected place. She still wore the Ankara shawl on cold days, now cleaner and stitched up with care. She started writing in a notebook, keeping her story alive. And whenever she walked past that alley where the boys had once threatened her, she walked tall, head high, eyes forward.